All right. Hello, and welcome back to the Core Growth Podcast. Geez, it's been a while once again. Took another long period of time to get around to making another episode. But here we are. Here we are. Here I am. And well, I hope you've been okay. First and foremost, I hope you've been well. I myself have been a lot better uh, since the since the last episode. I talk about it then that I'm, experiencing a lot of different things, and I'm definitely in a better place, and I'm very thankful for it. Yeah, I've just been being a bit busy, being a bit occupied. I was actually going to be making this episode way, way, way earlier, towards the actual start of this month, not the end. But, here we are. And that's totally fine. But yeah, my goodness, it has been a while. I'm getting the nerves. Yeah, I feel like ever since I stopped doing this every week, I started getting the nerves, which is, understandable, I guess. But okay, let's get into today's topic and today's episode. Um, Today's episode and topic, I wanted to talk about time and how valuable it is and how important it is. I mean, me being 20, I feel like growing up, it's always been talked about, at least from adults and like grown-ups. Everyone would talk about like, oh, you'll only be this age for so long, and soon enough you'll grow up. Um, and a lot of the times it was throughout high school, a lot of different people coming to talk in our little seminar type thing. And yeah, we were always told that, oh, voice crack. We were always told that our time is precious. And yeah, I feel like being that age at that time, it just wasn't really clicking. It wasn't really sinking in that reality. Yeah, none of it was really sinking in because there was no real need for it to sink in, because everything is so repetitive throughout high school. Everything is it just feels the same almost all the time. Every day felt the same. Um and well, yeah, I feel like being in lockdown, um and with COVID restrictions and all of that, kind of gives a similar feeling that time is just being repetitive. Once again, our daily experiences and our daily lives are being very, very repetitive, and we are less in the moment versus more in the cycle, if that makes sense. We're more on just like a cycle that goes on every day, instead of like being more present and more in the moment of the times that we're alive and continue to live. I feel like it's something that I'm definitely still applying in my life. I'm still trying to learn these things and still trying to understand everything thoroughly. But yeah, I mean, all of these episodes that I talk about these topics, they're all of it's a learning process, and I'm nowhere near the highest threshold of understanding when it comes to any of these topics. I'm still learning these things as time goes on, and still making an effort to apply these things in my life. And yeah, it's all just been a really amazing learning experience these past couple months doing this podcast, and just in my own personal life I've been able to do more for myself and more for those around me. And yeah, it's been great. But I hope to be able to do more, and I don't want to just restrain myself to my smaller circle of friends and my family. I want to be able to reach out to more people and connect with more people. Yeah, because spending time with all these other people that I've met and people that I hope to meet in the future, time is very valuable. Time is very precious, and um, well, to be completely blunt, I won't know if I'll ever see any of them again. It's not something that people think about too often. That, like if I meet a friend just so casually, we don't really think that this might be the last time I'll be with them. So we probably tend to not treat it as if it's our last day with them. On either sides of the coin, whether it's you or whether it's them. Um, and that's something I've been trying to apply to my life. That when I'm in the presence with someone else, or if I'm in a call with someone else, I try to treat it as if it's the last time I'm going to be with them, as if it's going to be my last moment with them. And well, in terms of like family, like in terms of if I'm, it's harder for me to apply that to the household, the family household dynamic, because you really do see them every day. And well, at least for me, I see my parents every day in the mornings and at the night times when they come home. But it's a bit harder for me to apply it in my family household. But in terms of my social circle, I try my best to apply it, because yeah, like death could be around the corner at any time, literally. And yeah, we don't know when it could come for us, when it's our time to go, or when it's our friend's time to go, we can never really know. And so yeah, I took that to heart when I heard um this clip. I think it was from Will Smith, but he just talked about something like that, where him and his friend would be very just thankful that they're both okay, and like, ah, man, I'm so glad that we've got another day to be together, or we've got another period of time that we can spend together, because both him and his friend know that, maybe tonight it could be my time, or maybe tonight it could be their time, or maybe tomorrow it could be either of our times. Like, because sometimes they themselves don't know if they'll wake up, and it should apply to all of us, really, that we should be thankful for every day that we open our eyes. And yeah, that's something I'm trying to implement in my life, and trying to be more expressive and open to those around me, because I'm trying to treat it as if it's our last time together, our last moments together. And yeah, it's been quite the process. It's been quite the journey, and I've enjoyed it. I'm continuing to enjoy it, because I feel like with that mentality, treating every moment as your last, or at least treating the moments with your friends and people you care about, treating it as your last, or treating it as their last, there's less of a kind of feeling of restraint in regards to like if I want to share something or not, or like, oh, should I talk about this or should I not talk about this? I'll just talk about it. I'll just bring it up and whatever. And that way I can just not regret not doing it, or not regret just questioning it, and instead just bring up a topic, or try to engage in some kind of conversation, or try to engage in some kind of connection, and creating some kind of new dynamic. And yeah, I mean, like I said, I've been enjoying it. But I also think it does rub off on the people that you're interacting with the most. So for myself, because I haven't been interacting with a lot of my friends recently, but one of my closer friends I've been regularly talking to. And yeah, I feel like a lot of the positive that's been coming from each other, like the positive stuff that I've learned and the things that he's learned, it just rubs off on each other. And we're both able to uplift each other and grow from each other's experiences and knowledge and stuff like that. And yeah, like things like that, it's just very valuable, and it's very necessary in life to have people that can uplift each other, and yeah, have a circle of friends that know the right things, or maybe not even really know the right things, but how would I put it? But can kind of relate. Like there's some sort of relatability between each other, and a way to connect in that regard. But yeah, um, and when I going back to like the whole positive stuff rubbing off each other and being able to learn from each other, it's yeah, because I was having a chat with him not too long ago, about this whole thing of wait, oh dear lord, I'm blanking out. But yeah, the whole living and being more in the moment, as if it was your last, and looking at every moment that it could be my last or it could be his last. And yeah, I feel like doing that, or having that kind of mentality or mindset when you're in a social environment, or when you're with someone that you care about and you truly want to spend time with them. And I feel like it's a valuable mentality or mindset to have, because that way you won't regret having not said something, or you won't regret, or you're less likely to regret something if you're spending those moments like that, because you're less likely to withhold anything. Because I feel like if you're in those moments, would it not feel really sad to just say goodbye, if you're really thinking about it? If the last moment with someone I really cared about was that moment, would I not feel really sad about saying goodbye? Because it's the last moment that you'd spend. And of course it can be like pretty draining if you have that mentality. Of course, I feel like it can be very draining. But doesn't meeting them again, or spending time with them again, just feel that much more valuable? Um, it's just a thought, but that's kind of how I think about it and how I feel about it. Like if I were to spend time with a friend, and it was potentially the last time I'd meet them, or potentially the last time I'd spend time with them, I'd feel devastated having to say goodbye to them and have some part of me know that it is the last time that I'll be seeing them. Would you not want to savor the moment that you're with them? Savor the moment that you're with the people that you care about, the person that you care about the most. And yeah, going along that kind of thing, that's been how that's just been a lot of what I've been thinking. A lot of being dear Lord, English. Just a lot of what I've been thinking and trying to navigate my head around this kind of topic and this kind of thinking. And yeah, it's definitely a more difficult thing, but it's something that's very necessary, I believe. If we always act like that the people that we care about, if we always act that they're always going to be there, then there's less meaning in the time that we spend, because everything's just going to be just so casual, just so less impactful, because you're going into that. If you're going to be spending time with them, say you're going out with them, you're going to be going out with them with the mentality of just like, oh, it's whatever, or just thinking that, oh yeah, we'll meet up again. Like, we'll meet up again tomorrow, or we'll go back home and we'll just play games or something, or I'll play games with them tomorrow or something like that. We wouldn't have the intention of properly spending that time very, very wisely. And yeah, with that being in mind, I believe it's time for me to get into the oh dear Lord, a lot of voice cracks today. That's wonderful. Yeah, let's get into a bit of the little questions or dot points that I've got for this episode. It's already been like 15 minutes. Dear Lord. But okay. One thing I learned about time, or about myself being aware of time, it's trying to be more aware of the time that I spend doing the things that I do. Because it's very easy to procrastinate. Myself, like for me personally, I am a heavy procrastinator. And this year being the most difficult time, didn't make it easy to get out of this little procrastination pit that I've got going on. I'm getting out of it now, or I've been getting out of it this past month, but yeah, I feel like it's so easy to get lost in things that aren't that important in our lives. It's so easy to just scroll for an eternity on our phones, on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. It's so easy to get lost, and TikTok. I don't even use it because I know, like, if I use it, it will be the end of me, because procrastination is a huge problem that I have. Yeah, being aware of the time we spend. And one thing I try to do is, if I am going to go on my phone, I will write a time of when I start. Like, if I'm going to use Instagram, or if I'm going to use any of the social media sites, I don't really include YouTube in that, but I mean, people, if they want to call it a social media site or whatever, then go ahead. But I don't really count YouTube into it, because I more often listen to YouTube than just watch it. But yeah, that's a bit off topic, but whatever. yeah, I'll try to keep track or like time it if I am going to go on Instagram or go on my phone. Maybe not even write it down or type it. I'll just keep a mental note like, all right, this is the time that I open the app, or this is the time I open this website, and I will look at the clock whenever I feel it. Like whenever I think or feel that it's been a pretty long amount of time or even a short amount of time, like I will just have to look at it regularly because it's so easy to get sucked into the vortex of just eternal scrolling. Um and yeah, it's definitely been really helpful because dear lord, is it so easy to get um lost in animal videos. I really enjoy animal videos, and I can't help it sometimes because I mean, in the future, I want to start an animal sanctuary. So, learning the kinds of different animals that are out there that need to be protected are, I feel like it's a pretty interesting thing. But once again, that's pretty off topic. But yeah, um, so yeah, being aware of the time that we spend, and that also applies to who we spend it with. If we're spending it with people that really don't value our time, then it's definitely not wise to be spending it with them. Because if they don't value our time that we spend with them, then you shouldn't have to value theirs. It's hard to explain, but you can kind of tell if people really value your time or not, because people are very appreciative, because they'd know that you could be better off doing something else right now, or trying to do something important, but instead you're spending time with someone. But yeah, so being aware of the time that you spend, um, both with people and both by ourselves. Yeah, so another thing I've been keeping in mind. Oh dear lord, phone call. All right, let me pause this. All right, well, that was interesting. Um, I just got a phone call from one of my close friends. um, what was I saying? I think I was going off to start the point of spending time wisely. Um, yeah, so spending time wisely, it's pretty simple. Um, spending time with people that you care about, spending time developing yourself and uplifting yourself and uplifting uplifting other people. Yeah, those are what I believe to be wisely or wise things to spend your time on. There's definitely more things that are out there, but I probably just can't think of it right now. Um, and yeah, there's definitely been times where I didn't really spend my time wisely. I didn't really spend my time doing the right things or feeling the right emotions or like there's so many different kinds of things that you could be spending your time on, and yeah, I feel like it's happened to all of us, no? Where we spend our time or where we don't spend our time doing the most important thing, or where we're spending our time doing something so unnecessary or so, yeah, just so useless, kind of like just a waste of time. um I've definitely done that. Like, I've just needlessly spent my time scrolling eternally on Instagram, or and this time this would be watching videos, where I'd just be watching so many videos on YouTube. Some would be informative, some would be very developmental or something like that. What if that's a word? Then yeah. Or some would be about finance or stuff like that. So some would be productive. Some videos would be very productive, but then over time, I'll just the focus level would just deplete, and so will my attention and everything. It's just everything depletes over time, and then when I got hooked into a loop of videos, then I'll start watching videos about games or whatever. Um, there's a lot of that, and more examples of when I spent my time poorly. It would have to be sometimes it would be games, definitely, because I feel like for myself personally, there's half the time or over half the time I play games, I could be spending it on something else. Not to say that I'm always playing games or that I'm not doing anything or whatever. I just feel an internal guilt because I feel like I could be doing more instead of playing games. Honestly, I don't play games that often anymore. I'm more watching like real estate videos and understanding the market. But yeah, like there's a lot of things. I mean there's more examples that I just can't think of when I spent my time poorly. And I guess examples of when I spent my time wisely is when I spend it with people I love, people I care about, and spend my time learning, developing myself, and uplifting myself and uplifting. I did it again, uplifting others. Um, Trying to be encouraging and just being in the presence of another person that needs it. Like if someone needs to be in like a conversation, or if someone needs to be in the presence of another, then yeah, I put myself out there, and I will most definitely spend my time with them. And yeah, and another thing that I've learned across this learning experience or learning process about time is making the most out of the time that we have. That's another point that I noted down. Making the most of the time we have. And this kind of, excuse me, this kind of loops back to the point I said earlier about how we don't know when our time to go is. When our time to pass is tomorrow or tonight or whenever. Like, yeah, we don't know. And, well, if we don't know, we should spend our time doing the best that we can, bringing the most positive energies that we can into this world and spread it, and be more loving, be more kind, be more caring. And of course it gets difficult, absolutely gets difficult, but I believe it's more worth it. Living a life knowing that I at some point did my absolute best, trying to be the absolute best person that I can be. And yeah, spending my time the best way I can. And the most valuable, and making the most valuable memories and moments and experiences with the people that I love and care about. Yeah, because our time is so limited, and it is very valuable. And I don't want to regret spending my time on something not important, or spending my time on something that won't do anyone any good, if I could be spending it doing something important. Um and well, yeah, there's because there's like a million things you could do with the time that you've got, that we all have. And let me give some examples, or let me give this example in particular, that it really, this is a really deep one. And this is from what my mother experienced recently. And first and foremost, I'll be straightforward. This happened not too long ago, but it was recent enough. Like it happened this month. And well, my mom experienced a lot of sadness recently, or over in that period of time. Um, she's been experiencing a lot of sadness and regret over a friend that had passed not too long ago. And apparently my mum didn't know that she'd passed. And it was a friend of my mum's, like a really close friend, back when she was working at a pharmaceutical company. They developed a really close bond. They had this small group. So, to kind of put it in perspective, let me kind of create the scenario. So, picture yourself in another country, and let's say you still have the group of friends that you do have, and picture them all still here, where you know that they are and that they reside, but you move out. Let's say you move to another country. Let's say you move to America, or you move elsewhere. So you move to another country, and you make a life for yourself there, and you get really busy. And your friend group that was left in wherever it is that you remember them being, you kind of lose touch. You get a bit, not really distant by choice, but just because you're busy, you don't really talk to them that much. And one of them gets sick, but you don't know. And then you come to contact them and ask how they're doing, and find out that they're sick after maybe a couple years of them being sick. Um and the friend that is sick really wants to see you. And in that friend group, the sick friend is asking the other friends about where you are, because the sick friend really wants to see you, really wants to meet you, and see how you've been doing after all this time. And maybe 10, 20 years pass. And in like it maybe a couple months, you contact them again, see how they're doing. Still sick, but still wants to meet you. But you're busy. You've got a lot of things on your plate: your career, your family, your work. You just got a lot going on. and then you finally make the chance or get the chance to talk to them again over the phone, or get the chance to see how they're doing. But unfortunately, they've already passed. And so you contact that friend group again, only to hear that one of your friend's last words were asking where you were, because for the longest time they really wanted to see you. For the longest time they really wanted to catch up. And in this kind of picture, my mom is the one that went to another country. It's a very heartfelt story, so I'm just a bit emotional, but thinking about something like that, I mean, I'm not in those shoes, but I can feel the weight of the situation. And I can feel the, what do you call it? Yeah, like I can feel the heaviness. I can feel how sad it is. And I mean, honestly, I don't fully understand how my mom felt in those moments, but I could see it. I could see how sad she was. I can sense the regret that she feels. I don't know the full force of that sadness, the full force of that regret. Because if I were to ever be in those shoes, like that's the only way I'd fully understand, right? But yeah, it's a heavy situation, and that was a lesson to me, to spend my time with my friends, spend my time with my family, with whatever opportunity that I get. Because if I don't, then it will eat me up alive. It will, it will cause damage. And I know that my mom still really regrets that. She still does. But she has to move on. She's still very busy in her life. She's still very sick, and she's still got a life to live. And she can't let herself get sick thinking of all the sadness and all the regret that she feels. Which I commend my mom for, because she's still such a very strong individual despite everything that happens to her and everything that has happened to her. And yeah, that should be a lesson to all of us, that time is very valuable. And that, we should not regret not spending time with someone. Because when my mom heard that, her friend that had passed, when my mom heard that one of her last words, like, was asking where she was, I started crying. Because, well, my mom was crying when she was explaining this to me, but it really resonated with me, because I knew myself that I wasn't spending my time with my friends that way. I wasn't spending my time with my friends in a way that made them feel special, or in a way that made them feel important. Or maybe I was, but at least for myself, I know that I can be doing better. I know that I can be making more of an effort to be more encouraging, be more uplifting. Because it really isn't that hard to be encouraging. It really isn't that hard to be uplifting. It really isn't hard to be kind, to be caring, to show love, to show compassion. It really isn't that difficult. Even if you are an introvert, or even if you are shy, like, you can always get out of that shyness bubble. But for me, I fought the shyness with what's more important, my shyness or my relationship with that person or with these people. Am I going to be shy and neglect this opportunity to grow with these people? No. I don't want to jeopardize anything because I'm shy. I want to do the best that I can to get out of this shyness bubble and be okay with feeling uncomfortable, even if I am like still socially awkward or whatever. But it's fine. And well, yeah, that's one of the bigger lessons I've learned this year. And that just shows how deep the regret is, that I could feel it. I was getting a physical reaction to how my mom felt. I mean the physical reaction wasn't just the crying, obviously, but I was physically distraught, like both physically and mentally. Like I was in a state of shock, and I felt so helpless. I felt so like, what would I even do in this kind of situation? Like I feel like I'd lose a part of myself in that moment. And if I were to ever even thinking about it, it's just so hard to understand. But I just know that it's a very painful thing to understand and very painful thing to experience. And so in over the past however long that since my mom told me, I've always been trying to make an effort to stay strong with the way that our family is, despite all the struggles that our family has, despite all these issues that we have individually and these issues that we have as a collective. I try to make an effort to kind of keep the peace, to kind of balance everything out. And if my parents feel down, or if my parents feel tired, I try to balance it out with whatever I can bring to the table. Whatever I can do, I try and do it. And my parents appreciate me for it. But in my eyes, their appreciation isn't enough. Like, I need to make sure that they can rest. I need to make sure that they can relax. And that's when it'll be enough for me, where I know that they can live a comfortable life, relaxing, where they can rest and they can spend their time doing what they want instead of spending their time doing what they have to do. And yeah, well, for me, I'm spending my time doing what I have to do. And I would much rather spend my time doing what I have to do than what I want to do. And I mean, you can spend your time doing what you want to do, as long as it's within a kind of regulation, like recreational stuff. But I mean, you can make your recreational activity into some kind of job, like how gamers and streamers do those things or whatever. But yeah, at least for myself, I'm in a kind of headspace where I need to do a lot of things. I won't settle for anything less than the best. And that's something my brother always told me, to never settle for second best, and to never be okay with just being okay. Because the entire world is out there. The entire world. And it's just waiting. The entire world is waiting to be seen. by me, or being waiting to be seen by you. The entire world is out there. The entire world. And I'm not going to let myself rot in a unsatisfactory life. And another thing that I saw watching these like motivational videos and such is, if you were to die and look at who you could have become, like your full potential throughout your entire lifetime, if you were able to see the full potential of who you could have been, and see what kind of life that person could have lived, only to remember that isn't you, that this person doesn't exist because you didn't want to take that extra step, or you didn't want to do the hard work. It's a very thought-provoking thing. And, well, I don't ever want to be in that kind of situation, or ever kind of be in that picture. It's a lot. It's a lot to take in. And, well, yeah. This has been a bit heavy. This has definitely ended on one of the more deeper tones. And for me personally, I'm all for it. I feel like these conversations need to be had, and these kind of chats need to be had, and people need to hear these things, you know. Yeah. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed. I love you all, and I'll leave the rest to post-edit Aaron. Take care, everyone. Alright, bye. Hey, it's post-edit Aaron here, and yeah, I just wanted to thank you for checking out this episode and having a listen through it. It was definitely one of the more serious episodes, I guess, towards the end. And, well, I hope you enjoy that kind of stuff, because I personally really enjoy having more deeper conversations, and I really do enjoy being able to share experience, whether it's my own or not, but I was able to share something that was an experience of someone that I care about, and well, it's something I learned from them, and it's a lesson that I took from their experience, and yeah, I'm all for it, being able to openly share our experiences and the things that we've gone through in our own lives, and yeah, I think, you know, every single one of us have very different lives, different lifestyles, made different life choices, and, well, with that in mind, we all have very different experiences in life, which makes sense, right? Because we all stray from each other's kind of thinking, or maybe we have very similar ways of thinking, but whether it is similar or not, we've all experienced very different things, and there's definitely value in that, value in everyone's experience. And yeah, this episode, like I said, is a lot more deeper, and as for this topic, as for the topic of time, I will definitely be covering it again. I'll talk about it again, and maybe I'll have one of my friends in that episode and see you know, their perspective on it, and see what they think and hear what they think, and that way we can, you know, we'll probably be able to bounce on bounce back on each other's perspectives, or who knows what the future holds, right? But as always, I will leave lots of stuff in the description. You're welcome to check them out or not. And I said this a lot, but I do hope that I can continue making content like this regularly. Yeah. Anyways, take care. I love you all. I'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.